episode of Pretty Little Liars, Spencer's bad choices come to bite her in the butt. Ezra has nice legs. Toby is there for Emily. Hannah's dad keeps on disappointing her, and Arya's dad's secret blows up in everyone's faces thanks to A. Let's dive in. Spencer's reputation as the cleverest one in the liar group hasn't kicked in just yet, so naturally, in this episode, she's either making new mistakes or dealing with the consequences of the ones she made in Season 1, Episode 3. One such mistake continues to be Ren. You thought him telling Spencer that he wishes he went for her first instead of for her age-appropriate sister, and accusing Spencer's parents of being judgmental in last week's episode was bad. Well, this week he exceeds all expectations by getting drunk, breaking into Spencer's house, and breaking things in the process. Yes, he might have gotten desperate because he couldn't reach her, because in the beginning of the episode, the liars block all numbers that they don't know in the hopes that that's going to keep A away. However, that is still not a good enough excuse for all of Ren's deranged behavior. What is also deranged is Spencer wanting to make things right and make up with Melissa in the previous episode, and then being totally giddy when Ren kisses her in this week's episode. Also, something that Hannah ends up seeing since she comes to pick Spencer up. At this point, Spencer is just straight up sabotaging herself. Speaking of sabotage and making things right with Melissa, that Russian history essay Spencer stole from her sister ends up catching the eye of her AP teacher, and he ends up submitting it for the Golden Orchid contest, which is basically a prestigious essay writing competition. He does it on Spencer's behalf, and it could be an amazing opportunity because winning the Golden Orchid could look amazing on a college application. And even though Spencer is an amazing student, if she wants to get into her dream school, which is UPenn or University of Pennsylvania, she needs all of the extra boosting and bells and whistles that she can get. But obviously, this being Pretty Little Liars, all that she's gonna get is even more trouble coming her way. Instead of making mistakes left and right, Emily is simply trying to exist and figure out what she feels, but A isn't making things easy for her. First of all, Toby ends up becoming Emily's lab partner, something that she is very, very torn about because, yes, he did save Emily from Ben, and yes, he is being very, very nice to her. But at the same time, she feels guilty about playing part in Toby becoming associated with the Jenna thing, and the Jenna thing landing Toby in reform school and damaging his reputation. And now also over the fact that Toby is being bullied in school. Emily is also still very much torn about Maya. She finds the missing photo strip from Noel Khan's party in her textbook, which completely freaks her out, to the point where she ends up confronting Maya and asking if she's the one who put those photos in the book as a joke. It is nice that while Emily hasn't opened up to the liars about all of the confusing feelings that she's feeling, she still has a support system. That support system being Maya and Toby. is not the one who put the photos in the book. Mona was. But when Emily admits that she did enjoy the kiss, but she is a little confused about how she feels and what next steps she wants to take, Maya makes sure to take any pressure off of Emily and tells her that she is completely ready to wait as long as it takes. At the same time, Toby continues to be the most emotionally intelligent guy on the show. It looks like he does accidentally see the photos in Emily's book, and that, combined with her not grieving over her breakup with Ben and her lighting up whenever she is with Maya, makes Toby realize that Emily might have feelings for Maya. Even though Emily is one of the most popular girls at school, she knows that once the truth about her sexuality comes out, people might see her differently. And Toby, he is already being viewed differently and mistreated by the people in town. So, while their situations are completely different, in a way they're both outcasts, and I think that that's what helps them bond. I honestly loved Emily and Toby's friendship, and I wished that the show would have leaned more into showing their friendship develop and them being there for each other in future seasons. Okay, let's talk about my girl Hannah, who appears to live in a mansion, which is maybe one of the reasons why the fact that the police comes to her house attracts even more attention. And the police come because of what happened the night prior, aka Hannah taking a joyride in Sean's car and crashing it. Yes, the car is ruined and Sean rejected Hannah yet again, but things might be on the up and up when Tom Marin, Hannah's father, calls and invites Hannah to dinner. What we quickly learn about Tom Marin is that he takes every opportunity he can to disappoint Ashley and Hannah. First of all, Ashley gets all dressed up because she thinks that she's also coming to said dinner. And Tom, without an ounce of embarrassment, tells Ashley that it's only going to be Hannah and him going to this dinner, leaving Ashley hanging when she put all of this effort into the makeup, and the outfit is quite honestly a crime. It is also clear that he only came back because Ashley told him about the car incident. Based on how Tom acts and speaks, it's clear that he sees nothing wrong with abandoning his family and only showing up when Hannah needs to be disciplined. I mean, the man hasn't seen his daughter in so long that he doesn't even know that she had a quote-unquote glow-up. To make matters worse, Hannah is desperate for any scraps of love and attention that her dad is willing to give her, to the point where she genuinely starts to think that he is there because he wants to be there for her and to repair their relationship. Those lovely hopes are quickly smashed into smithereens when Tom not only announces that he's getting remarried, but also brings up Hannah having to work at Sean's mom's dental office as a way to work off the damage she did to Sean's car right in front of Isabel, the fiancé, and the prim and proper and very much perfect Kate, aka Hannah's soon-to-be stepsister. In the Pretty Little Liars books, there is also a scene where they're having dinner and Tom essentially fat shames Hannah in front of everyone who was at the table. But shaming her like that when he could have definitely kept the dental office and the car crash conversation for when they were talking in private is honestly just as evil. Yes, Hannah definitely tries her best not to grumble, but you can see that she is just so sad to watch. Hannah's terrible times continue until the very end of the episode. Remember when in one of my other videos I said that A doesn't need to text to be able to get her message across? That is proven in the end of the episode when Hannah is in a car waiting for Spencer. The radio is on, and the radio host announces that A has dedicated a song to her best friend, Hannah. The song is called I Don't Need You Anymore. Mona, having been Hannah's best friend up to the point where the liars reunited, and then it kind of seeming like Hannah abandoned Mona, is another fun clue that we can pick up on now that we're rewatching the show. This episode kicks off with a lot of awkward vibes for Miss Aria Montgomery when the liars are discussing creating a path of decorative tiles in Allison's memory. The girls spot Ezra riding a bike and comment on what nice legs Ezra has. He is really cute, so I can't blame them. But I do blame Ezra for playing naive and saying that being with Arya is completely new territory for him, when we now know that he also had a thing with Allison. The Ezra push and pull relationship leans a bit more into the pull territory when in this episode Ezra invites Arya to dinner. Well, not out to dinner, but to dinner in his own apartment, because, you know, that's such a good and safe idea. Him being a teacher and her being a student and all. But actually, this dinner ends up being one of the most interesting scenes in this episode, because we really get to see Ezra's age show. Arya tells him about her dad cheating and how her mom has no idea about what's been happening, and Ezra decides to give his 2 cents on the situation by saying that perhaps her parents are in an open relationship. Arya, being a complete romantic, rejects this idea and gets mad at Ezra for even suggesting such a thing. In turn, Ezra snaps and suggests that maybe she's simply too young to understand the dynamics of an adult relationship. This is where the burn comes in, because Arya says, and I'm paraphrasing, "Why did you invite me here if I'm such a child?" You know what? I would love to know the answer to that question, wouldn't you? It is kind of awesome to see Arya challenge Ezra and for him to lose his cool as much as he does. We also get a similar scene when Ezra, riled by this fight with Arya, makes a scene in the classroom and blows up at a student during a discussion of the book To Kill a Mockingbird. That being said, I loved both of those scenes because Ian Harding, who plays Ezra Fitz, does threatening / unhinged so well. So much so that I wish the writers would have leaned into it and had given Ezra more opportunities to show that side of him. I mean, they do in the future seasons, for example, when Ezra and Arya are in that cabin, but I've always wanted more. And actually, I think that Ezra Fitz would have made an amazing villain, and if you're interested in hearing me talk about all of Ezra Fitz's crimes, then I'm going to link a video that I made just on that topic alone in the description box below. Arya and Ezra do make up in the end, and even though Arya no longer wants to keep her dad's secret, and she feels ready to have the hard conversation with her mother, A's like, "Not on my watch." By the time Arya comes home to tell Ella everything, she already knows, and not only did Mona, aka A, let Arya under the bus by basically suggesting that Arya knew about the affair the entire time, which is a totally cold-blooded move. But that is not where Mona's shenanigans end, because the episode ends with a bang, or, well, rather writing on a mirror in lipstick. As soon as Spencer and Hannah return to Spencer's house, they realize that somebody was just inside. After an SOS text, all of the girls reunite at Spencer's house for the last message of the episode. The phrase, "It won't be that easy, bitches," written on Spencer's mirror in jungle red lipstick. And if that wasn't creepy enough, this is the very same shade of lipstick Allie used to wear. Raise your hands if you too would not be able to sleep in the house after seeing something like that. In my previous recap, I pointed out the scene where Mona is putting on red lipstick and then offers the tube of lipstick to Hannah. I honestly can't remember if I even tied those two scenes together when I was watching the show for the first time, or if it was realistically even the same shade of lipstick, but it is definitely a huge hint as far as who the writers had decided to make A. Was it obvious to you that Mona would be the first A when you were watching the show? Or are you only now picking up on the clues that you didn't notice the first time? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in my next video.